Good morning everyone, and welcome back to Craft Eccentricity. And I was just checking to make sure my microphone was turned on. There we go. I'm sure you can hear me. Right, today we're going to do the Mango Craft pumpkins and that cracked glass background. Those were in yesterday's haul, so if you need to go and look at them, I think you just click on my playlist and you'll see that it was a Mango Crafts design team haul yesterday. Right, so first of all, I'm going to need my scruffy mat. This is my lovely silicone mat. It's probably about 8 inches square, and it's just right for me and my table. And inks we're going to use today. We're going to use tumbled glass, regular distress. I want a little bit of transparency going on with that. Black soot, Panelisa's squeezed lemonade, and Panelisa's shaded lilac. So I'm going to put those off to one side because I'm pretty sure those are the ones I'm going to be using. And already loaded on my brush, because that's always there, is my black, and I've got the squeezed lemonade loaded up on that one, so I'm just going to move that to the side. And as you know from my video the other day, I keep all my doodahs in doodahs. There you go. Right, so I'm just going to pop those there. Now I've decided I'm going with a sparkly kind of yellowy orange background. This is that glitter basil cardstock from Joanne, and I'm going to be using just plain white cardstock for the top. So I'm going to move my yellow along. So the finished card size for this is 4 1/4 by 5 3/4. Is that right? Probably not. Let me measure it again. It's 5 1/4. Yeah, that's going to be the finished size. 5 1/4. Just stay with me. By 3 3/4. Yes, there we go. So that's what I'm going to be using, but I'm leaving that there because we're going to use that now. Now, I haven't stamped the pumpkins or die cut them because I wanted you to see for yourself just how they stamp. And we're going to be using VersaFine Claire. Right, reach across my table, and the first thing that I want to do is stamp and colour my background. So I'm getting that lovely cracked glass that I shared yesterday, and I was going to use the piece that I did, but I decided, you know, I was going to do some blending first. So this is the stamp that I'm going to be using. There you go. But first it's time to ink. So I'm going to go in with some squeezed lemonade first and see what kind of backgrounds we can create. So I'm really loading up my sponge, trying to get my ink pads out of the way of me, and I'm going to go into my corner. Now I'm only doing it gently, and I'm making circular movements because I'm going to give a suggestion of the moon, perhaps just up there. So I wanted it to be a little bit curvaceous. So that's my idea of my moon. And now I want to go in with some lilac. This is going to be a really bright, happy card. So I'm just taking my yellow sponge off, and I'm going to get my shaded lilac out. And I think my tumbled glass is going to go, I don't know, I may not even use it. You know what it's like, you fill your desk with inks and then you just don't use them. So we've got that lovely shade. It's really happy and bright. Reminds me of pansies. In fact, pansy would be a perfect name for that ink. Probably see what I mean, because pansies are like purple and yellow, aren't they? And that's where I'm getting my idea from. So I'm just going very gently up the side and around what I'm thinking is my little moon glow, and then I can put a little bit more pressure on it, and I need to ink up again. So what I'll do is I'll finish scooting around my moon, and then I'll just go off and colour the rest of it. So our moon is supposed to be round, so I need to bring the colour up and in just a little bit. Don't want to lose all of it, but I do want a little bit of my purple onto my moon. so it's got a little bit of a shadow going on. Right, yeah, now I'm going to do the rest of my card in lilac and I will be back. Right, so that's finished and I've got my little moon up there and I've got my lilac-y night sky, and it doesn't actually show true. I wonder if I turn it that way. It really is a lovely deep dark lilac, but that looks really pale. So we'll have to do something about the lighting, I think, in a minute. So anyway, that is going to be my background, and the only thing missing is my stamp. I'm going to stamp over the entire background, and I want to use my stamp like this. Now I'm looking at it and the shape of it, and I totally know that I want, you know, that bit to go in my moon bit, so I'm kind of thinking about that. So I want my moon to be cracked. That sounds joyous, doesn't it? Yeah, I want my moon to be cracked, so I'm just going to ink up as much of the stamp that I think is going to fit that piece of card. I don't need to go all over it, and if I've got a few gaps it doesn't matter because we're putting pumpkins on there. Right, so that is inked up, and now I'm going to try and guesstimate my moon, and I'm going there. So I'm just going to rub that down all over my stamp. Keep your hand on so that it doesn't slip, and then we'll see what we've got. There we go. See, I've got a lovely cracked moon. It's almost like an eyeball staring at you. Yeah, I like that. Right, so now to move that. Now, I've been thinking about my background. My background is an orangey, mustardy yellow. And I'm thinking my background should be black. That's what I'm thinking. I can hear you screaming through the screen. Yeah, I will go off later and I will cut my background in black. So anyway, we have now completed the background. So let's have a look at those pumpkin stamps. I've got a sheet of cardstock. Make sure you've got no fluff on it. I've got a little bit of a mark on that bit, but I don't need to use that. And I'm going to peel my stamps off. I'm going to use an Alina Craft stamp block, and I'm going to use VersaFine Clair all over again. Might as well stick with the same shade of black. And these are all of the different ones that you get. Now I really love this one. It's really big and bold, isn't it? Yeah, I'm going to go with that one. And also reaching across the desk, grabbing my background, because you need to make sure that what you're choosing is going to fit. Now I want 3 on here. So if I'm going for that one, which I believe is the largest one, I'm also going to go for the more butternut squash shape. So I'll just grab that one and just pop those 2 down to see how they look, because one can go in front of the other kind of thing. And then this one is another, I think, smaller one with its little hook loopy stem there. So I'm going to grab that one. And I am coming back on Monday, so we will be using the rest of these pumpkins in a different way. Right, so I'm going to choose those 3. So if I move that, I'll get my stamp block. And these, of course, have got to be die cut. So here we go. Because we need to know that things stamp beautifully. That's why I like to do it in front of you. No cheating. No pretending. And I have to tell you that these stamps are photopolymer thickness quality, so I know that I need to be able to get a die around the edges, so I've got to stamp them with space. Hopefully I'm making good contact there. Isn't that fabulous? Let's have a close-up. Go in and go out. There you go. An absolutely perfect stamp. Nothing wrong with that. And I love his little love heart nose. It's upside down, bless him. So now I'm going to stamp my other 2, and I'll be right back and show you those there. Right, so I've stamped the 3 stamps that I've chosen, and I think one of the things I'm going to do is move these, because if they roll onto my project that won't be much good. So I'm just going to move those out of the way. Now, there they are. Let's go in close and then pull away. Ooh, well, that usually works. There you go. Lovely close up. Perfect, lovely stamp. Now, if you look over here, whoop, there we go, that little line, that's my fault. I didn't put enough pressure. I was being eager, but it's okay. It's once it's coloured in, you won't see it. So these are the dies that come with the pumpkins, and you can see they're held in place with these little metal pips. So let me grab them out of the bag so that you can see just how easy these are to pull apart. Right, first of all we have to find the ones that fit, and I believe that one is for that one. Yeah, so that's all you have to do. It doesn't hurt your hands, really easy. You can even take your fingers and snap that piece off. So I'll put that there, and I believe that one will go onto there. And then I've got my gourd one, which once again they just snap off. And that one will go onto there, and hopefully I'm going to get it straight. And then I believe this one is this one. No, it's not. So let's get the right one. Oh, I think it's this one. But you see how easy they just come off. No pressure at all. I think it's that one. Yes, it is. So I need to go and cut those out, and then we're going to colour them in, and we are going to be using today Spectrum Noir markers that I've had on the shelf for a while because I want to use them up. And if you've got these, I'm using citrus green, burnt orange and light yellow blend. So that's what I'm going to be using, and if I want to use a bit of white gel pen, then I will do that as well. But first of all I need to cut those out, and I'll be right back. Right, so I've been and die cut, and these are the little pumpkins all cut out. I've got my markers that I showed before, and I also cut a black background to go with the base for those pumpkins, and I like it much better. I think it looks much better than the brighter orange. So that's all done and ready to go. So now we're going to colour. So what I will do is I will do the largest pumpkin, and then I'll go off and do the other two exactly the same way in exactly the same style. Right, so I'm starting off with my lightest colour, which is the light yellow blend, and I'm going with the lightest one. And first of all, because I kind of like looked on Mango's website, which is helpful whenever you're doing anything, you'll see that they're kind of like lighted up at the fronts of their faces. So what you can do is you can just go in with yellow. You can put your yellow all over it if that's what makes you happy, because then, in fact I'll do that, because then you're hitting all the points that you're supposed to hit. So stay within your lines as you go around. You don't have to have a white outline either. You can totally have a black outline, a charcoal grey outline, whichever it is that you want. So you can see I'm just doing everything in yellow to begin with. And that, I think, is just going to make, you know, colouring in a lot easier. So he's got lovely yellow teeth, bless him. I'm going to stick within my lines going down there. And then I know the stem's green, so I'm not going to bother doing that with yellow. I'll just go in with green. If I think it needs to be yellowed up a little bit, then, you know, I'll certainly do that. But I just want to show you that, you know, your colouring and shading can be really quick and easy. So, right, I'm having a look, making sure I've left no white bits, and I don't think that I have. Right, so the next thing I want to do is I want to go in with my medium yellow, which is right in the centre. I mean, one of the things that makes these pens quite nice is that you do get all your colour tones onto one pen, so that makes it really useful. And then I'm just going to do the centre section, because now I'm going to come back in with my light yellow just to blend that out. So I hope you can see that it's kind of lighter there. I'm going to touch the teeth up again because I do want those to show. There, and along the mouth line, I think. And now I'm going in with my darker yellow, which is at the other end of the barrel, and for this I just want to go halfway really into what I've just done, and on the outsides of the eyes. I want to go underneath where it's definitely going to be darker, and under the nose. I'm also going to go along here, just in case I don't go all the way up when I'm using my orange pen. And these are going to be done in orange, so I don't really have to bother hitting those. So now I'm going to go in with, I'm going to do my green stem first, and I'll colour it in the light one. This one is a different pen. You can see it's got a brush tip. So I've got this lovely limey green. Now if you worry about things like this, one of the things you can do is use a pencil, but I tend to just go along and just tap the very edge. And if you go onto the white, just don't worry about it, because it really is a fiddly spot there. And then I've got my darker green at the other end of the barrel, and I'm just going to go a little bit there and back into my lightest green and push that out. So that's the stem done. So let's get stuck into the orange. Now of course the one thing that you need to make sure of is that you're staying within your line when you start to get darker. Now I'm using, yeah, it says it on here, that shows you how often I use these. So it's the lightest colour that I'm going in with first. Now if you're worried about going over the lines like I am, then it doesn't matter, because you already went there with the paler colour. So you've got your yellow in there, and I'm going under here. I can basically see where the lines of the pumpkin are, and I can go right under that mouth, which is what I want to keep yellow. And then I'm coming up here to meet this section. And now I'm going to get my pale yellow again. There it is, the lightest one. And I'm going to take my orange and take it up to that edge, and it will start to darken it. And then I am going to be going orange along here. But you see how that's darkened already? And now I'm going to go into my mid orange, and I'm just going to go in a line between the bit that I've just done. That's all I'm doing, is I'm painting a line. And then go straight back into your light yellow. Just go round and round, and that helps you get a nice little blend. I kind of like that his cheeks are yellow actually. And now I'm going into my darkest one. Now, because it's really difficult for me to see on camera, I'm going to go quite slowly. I have to pick that up towards myself. I'm going to go into that bit. And I'm staying within my line again. Because when you blend it, you will find that it will kind of touch up to that line. And then straight back into my pale yellow. And just squiggle that along and pull that colour in once again. And do the same here. Now we've got a little bit here that I think should have a little bit of darkness on it, so I'm going to go in with my, I'm going to be brave, I'm going to go in with dark orange. That's what I'm going to do, and I'm just going to tap it just slightly. I just want to get the shape of that pumpkin and then go back into my yellow and pull that down. There. I really like that. And me, I'm somebody who likes to pop in white gel highlights. So I'm just going to warm that up on my finger and think about where any kind of light would be. And I'm thinking here. So I've got a little bit lighter there. Got to also remember that when you use alcohol markers, your white gel pen will absorb some of that colour, but that's okay with me. So I have definitely lightened that up slightly, and I think I'm going to do the entire mouth line actually. Just tickle your pen along. I don't have a very steady hand, but what I do is I rest it down and just stroke the pen. Now we'll pick that up and show you. Let's get in close. There we go. So you can see I've got my pen in there. And you might be looking at this bit down here and wondering and thinking, well, you could, if you wanted to, go around the whole thing with a grey marker so that you don't have to have a white background. And in fact, I'll pause and I'll just get a grey marker. Right, so I just grabbed this tray off the shelf, and this is N2 Neutral Grey number 2, and this is a brush marker, and I'm just going to go in with grey backgrounds. I think that's going to tie in quite nicely with my card. And as I was saying before, if you want a black background, you can totally do that too. So just track up around the edge of your stamp. And I mean, we are talking, you know, a little bit dark and a little bit spooky, so you don't have to be white. Now if I was doing my pumpkins in like pinks and corals, you know, making them a little bit more trendy, then I probably wouldn't use the grey. I would just leave them white, but I think this is going to suit it. So now we have gotten rid of our white. Right, now you just saw how I coloured that one in, and he is going to be going onto here somewhere. So do you see how the grey just kind of like blends into the background a lot better than having the white. I mean, it's entirely up to you, but I am now going to run away, colour the other two pumpkins exactly the same technique, and I will be right back. Right, so I have finished colouring those in, and I'm actually just going to move my markers out of the way. And I've got my white gel pen, and I've already done little white dots in those eyes because I just thought it'd give it a little bit more character. So I want to do the same thing here. And then the same here. You might not actually see it too well on that one, but I promise you it's there. Right, now we can bring the backgrounds back in and arrange how exactly we're going to have these. And you must excuse my throat. And now I get a chance to coherently speak. Yeah, like, what are you up to this weekend? Because of course it's Friday. Yep, we're there again. And I kind of like the idea of that. Now with this stamp set also comes sentiments. I can now clear my scruffy mat out of the way, and I want my two to go flat at the back. You could of course use your action card wobbles on this if that's what you wanted to do. So you could have the one in the middle wobbling around. I'm just going to pop him up on foam. But I have got, oh, actually, while I'm thinking about it, because it's always better to do it before you do something like that, is I'm going back into that stamp set, and there is some little sentiments in here. In fact, there's 3 of them. I've left those pumpkins on the top because I need to wash them. But you've got Trick and Treat and Happy Halloween, and I'm going to use this little boo stamp and just dot it around a little bit. And then of course you could always do a sentiment on a white strip so that it really stands out. I may run off and do that, I don't know yet. I may, because it might be just that nice little finishing touch. So make sure you got your word the right way around. I'm going to try and just dot it into places where it's going to be seen. And I'm hoping it will be seen about there. And I think I'm going to do it here as well. So just a tiny little bit of boo. It's almost like creating a background paper. There, I like that. You can kind of just about see it, and that's lovely. Right, so I am now going to glue the pumpkins on. I'm very impressed with my flower top, I have to tell you. It hasn't dropped off yet. But having said that, I won't curse myself. So I'm thinking this needs to go a little bit to the back. And you can see that boo above it, which is nice. And the way I'm positioning that, you're going to see the boo just there. And of course alcohol inks will leak through your cardstock, but don't worry because you're sticking it down. So we are up a little bit and just there. I absolutely love these characters. But as I said, I'm coming back up on Monday and we'll do the rest of them. So I'm going to squish that flat. So we've got those two on there, and now I'm just going to grab some foam tape Here we go. And my scissors, they are here somewhere. I've got several pairs, so I don't worry. So foam tape to the back of that pumpkin. I'll go with 3 little pieces, and that should do it. And that is Alina Crafts foam tape that I just used. Anyway, as I was saying, I hope you're going to have a wonderful weekend. Our temperatures have cooled and dropped a few degrees slightly, which if you'd have seen me running around like a manic doodah, whatever one of those is, in the garden trying to protect my avocado tree, you would have thought I was totally insane. So I've got that one there, and I think I'm going to get a Halloweeny bit and pop it up there because I love it. So I'm just going to pause and I'll be right back. Right, so I was actually away longer than I said I was going to be, and I did make something else while I was gone, but I have cut a white strip of cardstock and I've got the trick or treat sentiment here, and when I put that under there it kind of fits. So what I want to do is glue my strip and then I'm going to stamp. So a little bit of luck required because we are committing ourselves by adding glue, and I don't want oodles and oodles of it, she said, so I'm just smearing it out now with the stopper. Right, this does not have to be straight. In fact, I would advise that it's not straight. So I'm going to go there. So now you're thinking, what on earth is she doing? She just put a sheet of white cardstock on top of her lovely card. Yeah, that's what I've done. Right, now I am very pleased with myself. And I have got my stamp and VersaFine Claire once again. And I may have to move this towards myself so that I can see it, because I've barely left myself an edge, if you know what I mean. Or actually I'll stand up. That is what I will do. So I'm going into this area here, and I am going to commit right there. So I've got my trick or treat down, and then I'm just going to finish that off using a fine liner. I do love this one. This is a Copic multi-liner. It comes in their pack with all the greys, and then all I'm going to do is just scratch, because I do like to scratch around the edges of white stuff. And that's all I'm going to do. And there we have trick or treat. We've got our 3 gorgeous pumpkins, and the other reason I ran away, I made myself a bookmark, so I was gone for 20 minutes. There you go. So I did actually use the tumbled glass that I originally put on my desk, and I've used the trick or treat, just using one end of the stamp first and then the other end of the stamp, and then I've got the full trick or treat down here. But there is that cracked glass, and I've still got some wet glue on there, I think. Hang on, I'm just going to remove that. Maybe I can't. So there it is with a lot more white gel pen, and I wanted to do it with a black edge so that you could see what that looked like. So this one is grey. You could have it white if you want to, and that one is black. Right. And that is what I got for you today. Yeah. Now, I am up again on Monday with more from Mango Craft. People want to see that stencil, so let's do that stencil on Monday, because it's 3D, it's going to take 3 colours, and it looks like a load of fun. So we'll make a card using that on Monday. Have an absolutely awesome weekend. I'm sorry that this video has kind of like, you know, maybe gone past 35 minutes. I don't know. I'll look at my camera later. But do have an awesome weekend. And as usual, all links below. Bye.